Welcome to the commentary booth where we watch and you guessed it, commentate on the week that was in movies and TV. I'm your host and play by play commentator Jamie Apps, and each week I'm joined by a rotating cast of colour commentators to help you find your next viewing treat. This week I'm joined by a freelance social commentator who lists their favourite movie as American Psycho and favourite TV show as Yellowstone. Welcome back to the show, Blake Robinson.
Oh my goodness, Jamie Apps, it has been a while.
Yeah, I was
Been a
going through the
while.
list. I was like trying to find all the info, and I was like, Jesus Christ, when was the last time Blake did an episode? And it was The Iron Claw, which is now available on Amazon Prime Video.
Bro, as if that hasn't been out for 3 years already.
Start of the year, and now it's on Prime Video.
Absolute
Streaming.
madness. Absolute madness. But I haven't just been sitting around doing nothing, that's for sure. I've been a busy boy. Been
Sure
watching,
you have.
been viewing, been listening, you name it. I've been doing it.
Just not attending one of the greatest concerts of all time.
Parkway Drive? No, I was sadly quite ill last week. Look, there's worse bands. Look, I love Parkway Drive, but I've seen them a dozen times. So I was an easier pill to swallow, not attending. Although, I was really keen to see them at Kudos Bank Arena. Previously over the years, hasn't been a great concert venue, but has since the last few years, they've run something to their sound in that place, and it is an amazing venue for concerts now.
Yeah,
I'll say
and that show was beyond wild.
Look, I have no doubts. And don't worry, I've got the full review, the full FOMO review from my friends who still went.
Yep,
So
yeah, it was epic.
anyway, there's plenty of opportunities to see Parkway Drive.
So then this week we are continuing the spooky season content with our review of Strange Darling, which is shockingly yet another new IP in the horror/thriller genre this year, and it has been getting a lot of buzz online.
May I butt in there? Is IP independent production?
No, intellectual property, so it's like a new story. It's not like a sequel or a prequel, or it's not linked to anything older.
Yep. Gotcha.
So this one is set in rural Oregon, and Strange Darling focuses on a man and woman who engage in a one-night stand that suddenly spirals into a serial killer's vicious murder spree where nothing is as it seems. Before we go too far into this, I want to try and avoid spoilers as much as possible for this one. Yeah, this is absolutely a movie where you want to go into this with as little information about it as possible and just enjoy the ride. And because I think if you go in knowing the concept, knowing some of the reveals, it's not going to hit quite as hard.
A huge twist quite early on completely flips the narrative of what I was expecting. I think
it's definitely one of those ones where if you haven't watched it yet, go away, watch the movie, come back. We'll still be here.
Come back and see us. So yeah, look, basically something I've been doing a lot lately is when I watch a movie trailer, I rarely watch the full trailer these days. And like 30, I know pretty quickly. I've seen enough sort of.
Give me the vibe. That's all I want.
And unless it's like the Napoleon trailer, which I watched like half a dozen times because that was epic, like a movie in itself. Like the Hereditary trailer, that's like a scary movie in itself. The Gladiator 2 trailer, doesn't that get you up and about? But enough of that.
They just put out a new one of that too.
Oh, did they? But enough of that. Yeah, I think this one I turned off pretty quick. This trailer, I was like, I've seen enough. A lot of trailers give away spoilers these days. And like you said, a big twist in this movie. You just think it's the one night stand. Hey, girl asks guy, are you a serial killer? Oh, no, of course not. And what? Lo and behold, they're a serial killer. Perhaps not as it seems in this movie. Not as it reads on the box, Jamie. First thoughts, though, I thought this is very independent mini movie short film vibes. And on that's my biggest takeaway of this. My biggest note was it just felt like a long short film.
Yeah.
Or are we calling hour 30, 90 minutes? Is that a short film these days? Definitely a shorter movie.
These days it's a short film, but it's
Just how
absolutely
everything panned
it's
out.
feature
It
length.
was feature length short film.
Yeah. I think like because of the way it's presented in the 6 chapters plus the epilogue, but
The chapters.
non-linear, like out of order. Obviously,
I was
if you
skeptical
wanted
at
to
the
make
start.
it a short film, you could cut out a couple of those and still get the same effect, and it would be a
In
short film.
saying that,
But
it gave off short film vibes. It only went for 90 minutes. A lot of scenes dragged on a lot, didn't they? Like initially, them sitting in the car out the front of the motel, that went for too long, and honestly got a bit uncomfortable to watch that.
I think that was the
I think a
point,
lot of no, I don't know. It's not good uncomfortable. It was like, oh, this is a bit awkward, and like I'm sort of a bit over this. Just like small talk. Now maybe another scene in the motel was like that. I think a couple of scenes just felt like they dragged on a bit. But as you mentioned, the chapters, what did you think of that sort of concept? I was very confused for a while at what the chapters was until I realized they're jumping back and forward, which didn't really think I'd like too much until it got further in. I was like, no, actually, I can get around this.
yeah, when it first presented it and it was like, oh, this is going to be, it comes up with that little title intro sequence. It says like, oh, we're going to tell you this story across 6 chapters, and then it hits chapter 3. I was like, what? And at that point, I was like, oh, this might not hit like I've been hearing it doing. But as it progresses, I think it works because it keeps you intrigued. Like you're constantly like, how do we get to this point? What's the mystery here? Rather than if
exactly.
it told you in linear fashion, like if you watch this and cut
It'd
it
be too
up into the
predictable.
chapters and put it in order, well, like chapter 2, you already know who the killer is, and you're just like, okay, let's just get to the end.
Yeah. Yeah,
Whereas
they couldn't have done it like that.
by cutting it up like this, you don't really know who the bad guy is until halfway through the movie, 3/4 of the way through the movie, and then you're like,
Even
"Oh,
that,
shit."
even when you've given yourself like you've decided on who the bad guy is, like, all right, that's it. Then it gets you second guessing yourself. You're like, hang on a minute,
Mhm.
is he/she really the bad guy here? Even at the end, like the last sequence, when what do we do? Are we spoiling or not?
We can spoil now that we've given that warning to go away.
Yeah, look. When she's sitting in the cop car at the end, she even gives up. Even after everything she's done, it even sort of lets you believe maybe she isn't bad after all.
Mhm.
But then she just shoots the cops, and you're like, oh no, she's still the bad guy. But then by that stage, you're sort of understanding she's like possessed by a devil to some extent.
Yeah, I think she just has, like, mental illness, but, like, the,
Yeah, well,
that
checks
that
out.
that final scene, the epilogue, even in that moment, it kinda makes you feel bad for her, and you're like, "I've just seen her kill half a dozen people in violent, brutal fashion." And because it just lingers on her slowly bleeding out and dying and, like, starting to, like, not be able to breathe and all that stuff, you're like,
I just want to
I feel bad
say
for her.
that few minute scene at the end where the camera shot was just on her, like you said, dying. That was honestly one of the better movie scenes I've seen shot. Period.
Mm.
Like I
It was so simple.
thoroughly enjoyed that for the art that it was, and like
Yeah.
in a movie like that, like I said, it gave off very independent film vibes, but that was the great and incredible scene.
Yeah, such a simple scene that,
And it
like,
slowly turned to like black and white as well as she was dying.
yep, yeah, her
Brilliant, just
as
brilliant.
her life fades, the color in the scene fades, and just it gives you that mixed tinge of emotions where you're, like, a little bit sad that this
Yeah.
person that you've, I guess, become attached to over the course of the movie is dying, but then you're also kinda like, "Well, I'm glad the serial killer got their comeuppance."
What did you think of? So there's a few little twists in this, but this is a smaller twist, I guess. She finds the sheriff's badge in his wallet. What did you think of that?
Yeah, that was unexpected.
That was a
And
bit
that's
cool.
another one where
But that didn't really
that's
amount to anything, though, did it? Like, it
apart
didn't
from
really
him
mean
in that.
anything.
apart from him like having the connection to be able to call a cop and get them to come straight away. But
Mm,
I thought it was a great sort of red herring too, because you know they've been looking for this serial killer for so long and been unable to catch them. Because this is still in the point where you don't know which one of them's the killer.
mm.
Um, so it kind of gets you to that point where you're like, oh, maybe because he's a cop, he's the killer, and he's just been covering his own tracks.
Yeah, even I think when she started attacking him and she drugged him, I was still like leading myself to believe this is all like a self defense mechanism from her. And like
Mhm.
I don't know, I was just firm on the belief that he was a serial killer all along and he was going to be. And there was always going to be something that happened that got her out of it. Even to, like
Yep.
I said, even towards the end, I was still second guessing. I was like, hang on, is she really the bad guy in all this?
And I think that's kind of the big takeaway and the big message of this movie is like it plays and toys with that idea of preconceived notions and bias. Like,
Yeah, wait, speaking of
you,
bias, how bad was that cop when they entered the home?
at the end,
He was like a real cop's cop, hey. That was infuriating. Then like the girl's just trying to help her. Like she's clearly reading it as like, well, the girl that wanted it to play out to be. Like she nailed that, like by
mm,
pulling your pants down. Like that was just genius, all that. And
yeah.
that female cop read right into that. Yeah, but that male cop, I was like, oh my God. I just wanted to jump through the screen. Infuriating.
But again, that's like that the whole idea of it playing on those preconceived biases where
Just that, yeah, a
obviously
country
the
town
woman's
as
going to
well.
walk in and
Yeah.
immediately see that scene and be like, oh, this woman has been raped and
Mm-hmm.
like assaulted. But then the man's going to come in and potentially be like, something about this doesn't quite seem right. And it plays on
Um,
that men are evil,
yeah,
women are always the victims notion. And it's like, oh, this is, again, makes you feel uncomfortable in terms of like questioning that too, because we see this,
yeah.
you see the woman come running through the forest in scrubs, her ear is mangled. You don't, and initially don't know how.
Mm.
So you see that scene, you immediately go, okay, she's been attacked. Not that's all self-defensive wounds on her.
Yeah, I was curious to know what happened to her ear early on, but when you actually see what happened, it is crazy.
She got Donald Trumped.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's exactly what I said when I was watching it.
She got Trumped
um,
hard.
hard, proper. There's
Yeah,
some
much
brutal
more than he
injuries in
got
this.
Trumped.
Yeah, that is for sure. I don't know how she didn't. Her head didn't get blown off point blank in the ear. What do you think's the craziest injury here? That her biting his neck, that was nuts.
That was gross.
Did
Yeah,
she
so
just like get the vein like in that right spot? Like, is that possible to do what she did to that
yeah,
extent?
yeah,
That's
you
crazy.
could kill someone by biting them on the neck like that.
That's gnarly. Even her getting shot through the fridge, like point blank with a shotgun, like she was in the wars, that girl.
Mhm.
She's surely just getting shot in the ear like that, you'd bleed out. I know it's a movie, don't come at me, but I really do like to find the truth in all this.
Yeah. It was hectic. Like I wrote down like the violence is gritty, gruesome, and like feels really
Good,
authentic too.
believable. Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
like
believable too. It's
Jesus.
not what was the other one? Oh, when he got what was the initials that got carved into his chest? Did you pick up on that? Was it like EL or something?
EL because serial killer was known as the Electric Lady.
Oh wait, back on that. Do we know much about this Electric Lady storyline?
No, they don't tell you much. They
Yeah,
just like
so that made it a bit confusing. Once they started to mention it towards the end, I'm like, well, did I miss something here?
yeah, no. It was just
So
all
it ends
sort of
up she's a serial
dressing
killer
of
and
like
lives.
yeah, like
That's what I mean.
she
Like,
is
this
the
movie
serial
should have
killer
been
that they're
half an hour
looking,
longer.
but they don't go into that much. The other couple of things I wrote down for this, going back to the start, the two scenes in firstly the car and then in the hotel room with the sort of fetish sexual encounter that they have. That's an intense, full on scene as well. That's a don't watch that
Yeah.
one with your parents scene.
Nah. Nah. Yeah, it didn't hold back, hey. It got a
It
bit
got
full.
real dark, really
Yeah.
intense at times. Like, holy Jesus, we're going this far.
Yeah. even like the drug use was like very in your face and like very clear. They didn't hold back on heaps in this.
Yeah. Yeah, like when she's begging him at that point where she's shackled to the bed and begging him
Mm,
not to kill her and like crying.
that's good.
And then
Good
obviously
acting.
because they're playing into it and I guess they'd agreed to this beforehand. His response is to say that she asked for it. It's like, oh shit. Like
Yeah.
that's the point where you start to question, oh, who's the killer here? That pushes you in that direction of he's the killer.
What was the point that made him start attacking her though? Was that when he got? This is all after he got drugged, yeah. And
Yeah,
after
he starts to
she
fight
tried
back
to kill him.
after she drugs him.
The first time he tried to fight back, right, was when he had his handgun there and he shot her ear. Was that his first form of self defense?
Yeah, I
When
think he like
woke up and knew he was in trouble here.
yeah, because he's still heavily ketamined out.
And apart from her being this electric lady serial killer, was there anything that triggered her to actually start doing that? There wasn't, eh?
No, I think her whole
She just drugged him from the start, premeditated, eh?
her whole intention with this encounter was to ultimately
To
kill
kill
him
him.
and make it look like she does at the end, make it look like a rape that she then fought back from so that
Yeah.
she would have some sort of plausible excuse.
You know what made my jaw hit the floor and think, ooh, was when she was in the back of the cop car and that old lady was running down the road. I was like, she's got loose ends here. Like that lady needs to go.
And she
I'm
does
like,
real
oh, I was
quick.
like, yeah, oh, quick. Yeah, I didn't expect that. But yeah, I was like, oh no, she's going to come undone here. She should have killed that lady.
Are you a trading card collector or a fan of Australian pro wrestling? If so, you're not going to want to miss out on the limited edition Australian wrestling cards. Each set includes 50 packs of 10 cards, including some of the country's top wrestling talents like Robbie Eagles, Shane Haste, Madison Eagles, Hartley Jackson, and they have Shaza McKenzie listed, although she is not a favorite. The Velocities, and a lot more. There's wrestlers, referees, announcers, commentators that are featured, giving you a full appreciation of the Australian independent scene. The cards sold out a lot faster because cards are hot right now, as I'm sure Jeremy Lambert will tell you. But you can order your Australian wrestling cards now at Pario Magazine. That's PARIO magazine.com.au/AUS WRES cards. Follow Australian Wrestling Cards on social media at AusResCards for updates. Join the hundreds of fans who have already discovered the excitement of Australian wrestling cards.
I did laugh at their safe word in that sexual encounter too.
Oh, what was it?
Mr. Snuffleupagus.
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. Yeah, like partway through it, she just goes, Mr. Snuffleupagus. And he's just like, oh. And like that's immediately
wow.
the stop safe word. And it's like, oh Jesus.
No,
But it was that scene's intense and it goes for a while. And it gets
yeah, that's
awkward
what I mean.
too because it's like
A few
really
scenes
stop
just dragged out
start.
a bit. Mm.
It's like, oh, I feel awkward for this bloke. Like it just feels so weird. Don't know how they do that. It was just ugh.
Who you know that actor reminded me of an Australian actor. You probably know his name off the top of your head. He's been in like Underbellies and Australian movies and all that stuff. Maybe like a Snowtown.
I could probably picture him.
I thought it, I was.
I don't
I
know who he
honestly
is.
thought it was him.
The only one that I like immediately recognized was Ed Begley Jr. as the old man.
Oh yeah, who was that? That he did look a bit familiar.
It is Ed Begley Jr. and he's been in a absolute plethora of things.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't be bothered trying to find this guy.
He's been in Batman Forever.
Oh, he's Guy Pearce Australian. Don't come at me. He fully
Yeah.
is. There you go. I watched
So,
LA
yeah.
Confidential on the weekend. He's in it.
Good. Yeah, Ed Begley's been in Strange Darling, Chips, Ghostbusters, Pineapple Express, Fly Me to the Moon. Just his
Random
like,
shit.
biography goes forever just because it's like he was in this, he was in this, he was in this.
Yeah.
Like, holy Jesus. So yeah, he was recognizable. And then the lead actress, Willa Fitzgerald, was in the Scream TV show. She's been in Reacher. Fall of House Usher. I did not recognize her at all. Looks so different in
Nah.
this than she does anything else.
Pretty good actress.
Oh yeah, very good. Her and Kyle Gallner as the man, like known as the demon. They are both fantastic in this. They stand out so much. They have so much like different dynamics and really wide-ranging performances too, because they like totally switch roles halfway through as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's very intense, and like everything they had to, because a lot of close-up shots of the face and in like tense, dramatic scenes. Yeah, they did very good.
One of the other things I wrote down, that old couple's breakfast looked disgusting.
Oh, bro, I can't believe I didn't write this down. How hectic was that?
That looked
And-
foul.
Oh yeah, I was so captivated by that scene. I was like, I just want this to keep going. What else is he going to put on it? And she ends up like the serial killer lady ends up like eating it.
Yeah,
like she's
she
just
eats it.
howling into it. I'm like, that's hectic. I just want to try this.
Like I enjoy the good old American style pancakes with
Yeah.
bacon and syrup. That's fine. But this guy had sausages, eggs cooked in like the deepest pool of butter
Oh,
imaginable,
so much butter, man.
pancakes. They pour on this tinned blackberry sauce,
Yeah, that was
whipped cream, and then drown it in syrup as well. Like, oh my
sausages.
god, that's
Yeah, that
sickening.
was crazy. I was like, if this was like a massive hit, this film, like there'd be diners having that as a special on their menu. Hey,
I'm sure they will
became
be.
like a cult thing. Right? What will we know? Maybe that's an actual dish out in some country town. Like,
It
wouldn't
probably
shock.
is. It probably is in America. You can probably add all of that shit. I think it was the whipped cream and like
oh, that butter made me.
the
like,
butter was
stink
the issue.
So bad.
It's like, that is so much butter. That's like a
Because he
whole
put all the
stick of
butter in the pan with the eggs, but then didn't he put like more sticks on the actual like buns? It's crazy.
Yeah, that's
But
a heart attack.
yeah, I
waiting to
like
happen on
that.
plate.
I like them characters, that old couple and their little those scenes,
Oh,
especially
the
like
little,
you said
yeah,
when they
the
jump back with
hippie
the
doomsday
chapters.
preppers.
Because she because when she in one of the earlier chapters it shows, or she initially knocks on the door and they answer the door, but then it cuts back, but then it goes back to that chapter and you actually see they're sitting there eating breakfast. Then she knocks on the door and they look behind. So I like that sort of like different perspective of the same scene.
Yep. Yeah, it was. I did end up enjoying the presentation with the chapters and the skipping backwards and forwards.
Very
It
early
did let
on,
you sort of
I was confused.
gather more info as it went on, which was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I ended up at the start. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this very much. I thought it was very like a bit tacky. Just the way, the quality of how it was filmed and how it was presented. Like you said with the chapters, I was confused. But in the end, I couldn't fault this really.
Yeah. I think ultimately it works really well because
It ended up working. Yeah, you just if you're having
do need to
doubts, you gotta
stick to the
push
end.
through.
There's no like predicting this 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
I also wrote down, I love that the old couple think that a Sasquatch attacked the girl.
Yeah.
Like
that
she knocks on the door and they go, "Oh, it must have been a Sasquatch."
That and that was sticking by that too.
Yep.
It's like they were adamant a Sasquatch ripped her ear off.
Yeah. And then like the moment that you realize there's something suspect with her is when the old lady, what's her name, Genevieve, says, "Okay, we need to call the cops." And like at that point, it all comes crashing down because she does not want the cops involved at all.
Yeah. Then she ends up beating old mate with a phone. Is that what happened? She smacked him over the head with a phone, then ends up stabbing him.
I think she stabs him and then she belts the old lady.
Yeah, right.
Something like that.
Yeah, it is brutal.
Like, I think the biggest thing here is never trust a book by its cover. And it's like, what I felt most awkward and weird about with this movie is because it is that play on trusting victims and like stuff like that. It kind of got into the whole, say like a woman makes an accusation over someone. You want to believe them, but can you believe them?
Yeah, that's the thing with this. It wants you to be on her side, but you're like, no chance you can But at
Yeah.
the same time, I that's like I said, until the final scene, I was still on her side. I'm like, there's got to be another twist or turn here that saves her from this.
And did you notice in the final scene when she I think it's just after she gets shot and she's talking about how she has no, it's before she pulls the gun on the old lady and gets shot. She's talking to her about what's happened and how she talks about how she sees herself as like this person that's killing demons, and then ultimately she realized she was the demon. Did you notice the like flash of the demon
Flashed up in the mirror.
The mirror?
That's what I mean. And that wasn't the first time that demon flashed up. Because wasn't it? I thought every time the demon flashed up was when that's when she decided she had to kill that person. Because that wasn't the first time the demon flashed up.
Oh, I missed the others.
There was, I think, potentially early on in the motel scene when they were messing around in bed, it flashed up on the guy's face, I think.
I have to go back and rewatch it.
I don't think that was the only time.
But yeah, I did like that was like the sign of, because of the way like she sees it and then she goes, okay, I have to like attack this woman. But I think
thought she was going to kill herself
that
after that.
Yeah, I think that might be what she was going to do, because she doesn't pull that gun out in like a quick, I need to shoot this person way. Like she pulls it out slowly and the other lady beats her to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is another twist in itself, because then you're like, well, what was going to happen? She didn't get shot by this lady.
Yeah, and it makes it hard for that lady. I guess that lady has that whole, look, she had a gun on her. Self-defense. But this is like the one time where it's like, now can we believe anything anybody says? Because she just made it look like she was raped in the old couple's house, but wasn't. So very intense, very cool movie.
And it had open end. It was cool. It was entertaining. But I mean, if you want to get deep into it, like I said, it could have went for another half an hour, because I would have liked to see like the fallout from all this. But that's the same with every movie. You can say that about every movie. Like, I wish this had an extra half an hour so I can see the fallout. But you got to go out when you're on top. You can't stretch it out and end up being shit. You got to keep people on the edge of the seat and keep people wondering.
I think it ends on a great spot, like with that.
Oh, like I said, incredible scene.
Do I feel bad for this person, or am I glad that at least now this serial killer is?
I did. I feel bad for her. I'll say that.
Yeah, she was pretty fucked up though.
Like, bro, like I said, she got shot point blank with a shotgun in like with the arm. Ended up being the arm, eh?
I think so, yeah.
Point blank, her got an ear shot off.
The receptionist at the hotel, like that murder was pretty fucked up.
Yeah, how'd she kill her? Did she stab her?
Stabs her in the neck with a pair of scissors.
Oh, that's right.
And then threatens the nurse, like.
And she didn't kill that nurse. That's what I mean. She kept leaving like a trail, like.
Yeah, she let the old lady run away. Didn't kill the nurse.
Even old mate at the motel, there was an old guy next door. Remember?
Yeah, but I don't think he was ever going to say like, "Oh, she was the killer." Yeah, he saw her.
Yeah, clearly looks like she's running away.
Yeah, she's got her ears popped off, blown off. Yeah. She's in just underwear, running away like he's trying to kill me, and he's just like, "Right."
I would, you know what? I would like a prequel to this movie. That would be cool.
Yeah, I think that if they were gonna do a follow up, that's kind of the only way they can go with this.
Yeah, like
see how she got to this point.
Electric lady. Yeah, it'd be sick. That'd be mad. That's like the perfect segue for him.
I'd be interested to see if they keep the chapter structure for that, or if they just go, okay, we know how we got to.
Well, they couldn't, because they started chapter 1, didn't they?
Yeah, but I guess it's just the prequel book. So.
Yeah.
And I guess
that's a great idea. We should write it.
I think that if they do, they probably will, because it's like the same with this one. Like, we see the end first, so we know how we know where we're going to get to. Now, how can we play with that idea throughout the rest of the movie to get back to that point?
Well, this leads me to say this: is that being too copycat with Ty West's Pearl X trilogy? That's a female serial killer that starts as a sequel, then jumps to the prequel, and goes back to the sequel. It's ends up in the same concept.
I'm really happy we've got so many new movies this year. Like some of the newer horror have been the best ones this year.
What else have we got? This Spooktober. I see Halloween is popped back up on Netflix. Timeless.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking like this year we had Immaculate, that was awesome and fresh. The new Alien was good. It wasn't a new IP, but it was good. Late Night with the Devil was pretty cool.
That was good, bro. I like that.
What else did you get?
Obviously Pearl, which I still haven't seen.
I have. It's pretty solid. There is a scene in there that, as a man, is rough.
Right. Because there's been a big gap between like streaming release from the cinema release. Still not up anywhere.
Yeah. Some movies real quick, some movies not so quick. What else have we had this year?
Yeah, what else is it? What's even out at the moment? Joker just came out. That's the big thing.
Yeah, it was apparently not great.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews for that.
The First Omen was not good. Oh, You'll Never Find Me is pretty cool. That's a new one. Boy Kills World wasn't terrible. Wasn't amazing, but it was cool. The Exorcism is fine. Oh, Longlegs.
Oh, brilliant, bro.
That's another.
So
that's a great
good.
one.
Like that was like cult
That was
classically
phenomenal.
good. That's gonna be timeless, that movie.
And The Substance is the other really, really good new movie.
Yeah, I need to see it. I was captivated by the trailer the first time I seen it. Big Margaret Qualley fan too, I'll have you. So keen to see how she goes. But yeah, Substance looks sick. I'll be waiting for that to arrive.
I got to see that one at the Sydney Film Festival. It's brilliant. Definitely.
Yeah.
As soon as that one hits a cinema near you, go and check it out because it's
awesome. That's high on my
Again,
list.
avoid as much info as you can.
Just don't watch trailers. Really, watch the first 20 seconds. Quickly know if you need to watch it.
What I've been doing is instead of watching the like trailer,
Teaser.
I watched the teaser trailer that they put out like a day before they put the actual trailer out, and that's enough. That'll give you the vibe without spoiling anything.
Seen enough. There's in saying that I watched. I can't remember what movie it is. There's a teaser that came out recently. It's for Yellowstone. The next season of Yellowstone. It's just some teasers really annoy you because they don't give away like enough. Like I complain about trailers giving away too much, but then there's a teaser that just gives away nothing. It's just like 20 seconds of a bit of music and there's some flashy scenes. I'm like, that's not enough.
Yeah, it's just a logo. You're like, oh, cool, thanks.
Like it's teased, pretty much. It's a tease, not a teaser. It's just tease me.
Well, if you want to be teased a little bit more, there's another new show coming to Netflix in about 3 or 4 weeks. The Territory.
Landman? The Territory? Oh, that's the one I'm thinking of.
So it's basically Yellowstone.
I thought it. Yeah, no.
But in
like Australia,
the Northern Territory.
Yeah, I'm heaps keen for that. I actually thought it came out October 1st, and I got like sat down on Saturday night, ready to watch it, like expecting it to be there. It wasn't there.
Yeah, nope. Soon.
No, but I'm thinking of Landman. I think it's called Taylor Sheridan, the creator of Yellowstone. His new show. It's about similar vibes to Yellowstone with like territory, ranches, and whatnot, but this is oil fields in Texas and Oklahoma.
Oh, that'd be fun.
So and it's got Billy Bob Thornton as the lead. And Demi Moore. Demi Moore's in it too. Looks epic. Huge production.
She's on
stuff.
Massive resurgence for Demi Moore.
Yeah. Is she in The Substance too? Yeah, what's going on there? That's some sort of resurgence. Random ass.
I would assume it's because of The Substance.
Yeah, true, mate. No, but the Territory, keen to dive into that.
Yeah.
What date did you say it comes out?
It's about 2 or 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, I'm heaps keen for that.
So the last couple of notes I wrote down for this were in terms of budget and stuff. This movie was
Yeah.
filmed over 32 days with a budget that they're estimating between $4 and $10 million. As of the time of recording, they are at a box office of $3.6 million, which is probably a little low, but I would suggest this is another one of those, because it's a new IP, probably was never going to do like mind-blowing numbers at the box office.
Yeah.
But it's going to be one of those ones where the buzz builds and builds and builds.
It'll grow in time for sure.
And once it hits a streaming platform or like video on demand at home, that's when I think this movie's really going to skyrocket in popularity.
Yeah, you can.
People are gonna go,
It gives off vibes where it'll creep up the Netflix top 10 and it'll become like a thing on TikTok and whatnot, and the word will spread and people will get around it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. You
one of
watch.
them ones for sure.
Give it 6 months, and I'll be resharing this on like, hey, this is on streaming now, and it's just going to be like the most popular thing in the world.
Yeah, for sure. I can see that happening.
So as we close out, in terms of a rating, what would you give Strange Darling out of 5?
Oh, I don't know. I'm juggling here. I don't know if it's good enough to be thrown out of 4, but is 3.5 underselling it? I don't know. I'm going to go 3.8
Ooh, low.
tasers out of
Low.
5. I don't know. I just didn't feel comfortable giving it a 4. I don't know. 4 just seems high. 3.8. That's pretty good. That's like, it's way better than a 3.5, but it's just
You got to bump those numbers up.
It's just not a 4 for me for some reason. I don't know.
I gave it a 5. It's freaking great. It's unique, new story, and I think she kills about 5 people in this movie, so 5 out of 5.
Yeah, no, well, wait. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Look, we both like it. And I did say I can't fault it.
Yeah. Like
I'm not dishing out 4s.
It's definitely not one where you walk out of it feeling good about yourself.
See, I wouldn't even give Longlegs a 5. Like, I'd give Longlegs a solid 4, maybe a bit over a 4.
I think I gave Longlegs a 5 as well. I thought that was brilliant as well.
Yeah, that's an incredible film, that is. That's going to be timeless, like your Hereditaries of the world. Your Babadooks, if you don't mind.
Yeah, recently reviewed that one for the first time.
Yeah, no. that's what I said.
But I think Longlegs, even Strange Darling, I think they're going to sort of get into the sort of Silence of the Lambs territory where it's just like, if you haven't seen it, people are going to be like, what?
Yeah. I swear Longlegs hasn't been that popular, though. Like, should it have been more popular?
I think because
everyone I've seen it and everyone I've read online that's seen it, it's gone
loves
down
it.
the street. Like, loves it. But I swear, wider. It's just not everyone's cup of tea, I guess.
And it's not one of those ones where you see a poster and go, oh, I need to see that.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where you need to actually sit down and watch it, and then you'll get it. Like,
is it like really promoted or marketed that like Nicolas Cage is essentially the lead in it?
I think he's like on the poster, but that's about it.
But you doesn't look like him.
No. Yeah, it's one of those ones where, again, it needs to hit a Netflix or something like that for people to go,
it's still not out either, eh? Yeah, it's definitely not everyone's cup to be going to the cinema to see.
Yeah, there's plenty of cool stuff out there, though. What have we got coming up? So, yeah, upcoming episodes. So we've got Strange Darling. I'm going to review Until Dawn with Karina, since they've just put out a remake of that on PS5. And they just announced a movie for it, or just completed filming a movie for that game. So that'll be fun. Went back and rewatched A Nightmare on Elm Street, or Karina rewatched it. I watched it.
Hey, that's a good idea.
For the first time.
You know what I might watch? Freddy vs. Jason. That's good shit.
Such a random one.
So good.
And then coming up in, what is that, November? got to go back and rewatch Gladiator. Obviously, got to prepare for Gladiator 2.
Bro, I've watched it recently anyway. I watch it every now and then. It's so good.
Oh, you can jump on the refresher episode with me then once I
I re-
rewatch it.
Yeah, 100. I'm actually so keen for that movie. I wasn't really at first, just because of like I'm not a massive Paul Mescal fan. Like those who know me know I'm not a Paul Mescal fan. But when the trailer came out, I completely jumped ship on like the Gladiator 2 train. It looks something epic. Ridley Scott doing the sequel as well just speaks to me. Like you just know it's going to be done properly. It's in the safe hands. I'm so keen for that movie.
And then the last one I want to promote last couple I want to promote before we close out the episode. Going to do an Ace Ventura 30-year celebration.
30 years? 30 years.
That movie is 30 years old this year.
Bro, what the shit?
Yep, that made me feel really old really fast.
That's crazy, man.
So that one. And then for Christmas this year, we're going to finally settle the debate. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? We're going to watch it and argue it.
Love Actually is. Die Hard isn't.
Oh, tell that to Karina. Tell that to a lot of other people that say it is.
Die Hard isn't, eh? I don't know what people think in there.
Yep. Alrighty. Thank you everyone for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on podcast services and YouTube. You can follow Blake on Twitter at Captain Crumbs with a Z. And you can follow me on social media at Jamie Media and at Pario Magazine. The commentary booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Apps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine, Pario Magazine, on Patreon at patreon.com/Jamie Apps Media. The following people supported at the publisher level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support.